Hello and welcome back. Now it's time for Wyld Networks and its CEO, Alastair Williams. Welcome, Alastair.
Thank you very much
The stage
indeed.
is yours.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Alastair Williamson, and I'm the CEO of Wyld Networks. So what is Wyld Networks? Well, Wyld Networks is a virtual satellite IoT operator. And what's the problem that we're trying to fix? So the problem is that only about 15% of the world's surface has access to the internet. The other 85% has no access to the internet. So this lack of connectivity is holding back the growth of IoT networks from adding about 2 to 3 trillion US dollars to global GDP in the next 10 years. So what we've done at Wyld is we've developed an affordable wireless satellite IoT solution that allows our customers to collect data from anywhere in the world by leveraging low Earth orbiting satellites. So what's the value to our customer? Well, the value is fairly obvious. It's that we can provide 100% global coverage. So our customers can connect their assets anywhere in the world and collect all the data that they need. What's the differentiator? So it's a unique solution, and one of our differentiators is the ability to develop a solution that's affordable for our customers so they can get a faster return on their investment. And one of the key differentiators is we actually use unlicensed spectrum, so it's free to use spectrum. So that reduces the overall cost of the solution. The business model is fairly standard, so we sell a piece of hardware, and that's a terminal, and also we sell a service, and that service is a fee that our customers pay every month to use the service. So as you can imagine, if we're focusing on the 85% of the world's surface where there's no access to the internet, we're focusing on verticals like agriculture, maritime, the environment, and transportation. So currently we're in the commercial test phase, and the service is going to be launched towards the second half of this year, and we're testing with customers like Bayer and Chevron. But coincidentally, we're also raising purchase orders, so we're actually selling our solution ahead of the service being available. So what does it look like? So I've got a slide here that shows the products and then the solution. So that the products are fairly simple. I talked about the hardware piece. Well, that's Wyld Connect. That's the terminal that's connected to a sensor that sends data to the satellite. And then there's Wyld Fusion, which is our platform that collects the data and allows our customers to actually pay for that data. So that's a payment platform and a provisioning platform. And very simply, Wyld Connect, the terminal, is connected to an IoT device on the ground. And when the satellite passes overhead, it delivers the data to the satellite. And then the satellite delivers the data back to a ground station into our Wyld Fusion platform. And our customers can pay for that data and collect that data from Wyld Fusion. So if we look at the market, I talked about the agriculture, environment, energy, maritime, and logistics markets. Those are the markets we're going after. And there are numerous use cases in these markets. But, you know, forecasters are talking about a market worth about 5.9 billion US dollars by 2025, starting this year. So it's a very, very high growth market that we're addressing. And I want to focus on just 2 use cases out of the multiple use cases we are addressing. So one example use case is in agriculture for soil moisture sensing. Now, the world's population is set to grow by about another 2 billion people in the next 30 years. And currently we struggle to feed ourselves at the moment. So technology has been deployed in agriculture to help farmers and growers increase their yield of crop. Also, if we look at agriculture, 30% of the world's wastage of water comes from agriculture. So technology is being developed to look at how that technology can help growers and farmers reduce that waste of water. And basically what it is Internet of Things sensors deployed in agriculture. We take the data from those sensors, send them to satellites, provide that data back to the customers, they pay for it, and that data can be used to improve the production of crop by up to about 37%, and also potentially reduce the waste of water by up to 30%. So another use case is tracking assets in the supply chain. So the supply chain, if we take containers as an example, there are billions of containers that are being shipped around the world. And about $2.4 billion are lost every year in damaged goods. And that can be perishable goods. And up to about $30 billion of containers are actually lost. So what we do is we allow our customers to track those containers, not to ensure that they know where they are, to reduce theft. We also allow those companies to measure the temperature and humidity for perishable goods within containers. So all of that data basically contributes to improving the operational efficiency in supply chain. So where are we with customers and launch partners so far? So we've signed up over 17 launch partners, and these are large companies such as Bayer, Fujitsu, Chevron, and these companies are actually testing our solution at the moment. But at the same time, we're getting purchase orders from these customers. So we're getting purchase orders ahead of launching the service in the mid of this year. And so far in March, we've collected 28.3 million kroner worth of orders. That was an order from South Africa for 17 million kroner and an order from Brazil for 11.3 million kroner. And these orders are only for the terminals at this moment. So the order for 17 million was approximately 40,000 terminals. And obviously, when those terminals are deployed, the customer's then going to be paying about $5 per terminal per month to actually use the service. And that's where all of our reoccurring revenue is going to come from. At the moment, we're actually going through our TO1 series warrant program. We started the subscription period on the 22nd of March, and that's running through to the 4th of April. So I'd encourage all of our warrant holders to exercise their warrants and convert them into shares. Currently, our share price sits around 17 SEAC, and the actual buy price to convert your warrants to shares is about 11.25 krona. So, in summary, what we're doing at Wyld, we're actually solving a real-world problem. We're providing our customers with data from their IoT sensors where traditionally they could not even collect that data. That data is being used to make informed decisions to improve operational efficiency or increase the yield of production of crops. So it's a real-world problem that we're solving. As I said earlier, we're launching the service in the second half of 2022, but we're already collecting purchase orders ahead of launching that service. As I said before, we have a reoccurring revenue model, and that reoccurring revenue model comes from the customers paying a monthly fee of about $5 per month per terminal to actually collect that data. We've signed up customers. As I said, we have over 17 launch partners, and we're securing purchase orders as we talk. Just in the month of March, we secured about 28 million krona worth of purchase orders. We've filed our patent, so our patent is now going through the process of internationalization. And we're operating in a large market. I talked about the large market of about sort of $5.9 billion starting this year and growing to that $5.9 billion in 2025. But if I was to give you an idea of the size of the market that we're actually physically going after, so we're addressing a market, and obviously we'd like to achieve that market of about $670 million by 2025. So I thank you very much for listening to me, and hopefully we can answer some of your questions.
All right, thank you very much for that presentation, Alastair. So first we got a question from our audience following. The terminals transmit data to the satellite and to the ground station. Can the terminals be programmed for data to be sent the other way? And is the data in transit encrypted in some way?
So no, we just transmit data from the terminal to the satellite. So we're not actually looking at transmitting data to the terminal, because what we're doing is we're collecting data. So yes, it's from the terminal to the satellite and to the customer. And in respect to encryption, we follow a standard called LoRaWAN, and that data is encrypted.
All right, thank you. And you received several orders lately for the launch in the second half of this year. Can you tell us about the customers?
Yeah, we have one customer in South Africa, and they're in the agricultural sector. And they're the customer that placed an order for about 17 million kroner. And as I said earlier, that's about 40,000 terminals. But that doesn't actually include the service fee, which would be about $5 a terminal when those, $5 per month per terminal when those terminals are actually deployed in the network. And in the second purchase order we received 2 days ago was about 11 million kroner. That's actually for a Brazilian company, and they're in the forestry business. So they're looking at how they can actually protect the health of the forests, how they can also ensure that deforestation is reduced as much as possible. So collecting data is vitally important for them, because they can use that data in their forestry management solutions.
All right. And the customer pays $5 each month for the data. And is this revenue shared with Eutelsat? And do you have any other costs related to this recurring revenue?
So yeah, that revenue is shared with Eutelsat. So we wholesale bandwidth from them, and then we charge our customers about $5 per month per terminal. And in respect to where we're looking at going at the moment, yes, Eutelsat is our satellite partner, but our technology utilizes LoRaWAN as a standard, so anyone with a satellite that has LoRaWAN capability can actually use our solution.
All right, so we had one question from the audience, which was, is there any risk with the collaboration with Eutelsat, as it's your only satellite partner?
Same answer, really.
Same answer,
we're looking at other partners, but let's be clear, Eutelsat is a very large satellite organization. They're the second largest satellite operator in the world by revenue. They're doing over €1 billion worth of revenue.
And your goal is to have 24 LEO satellites active to be able
Yes.
to collect data once every hour all over the globe. How many are up right now, and can you tell us about the plan, and also how is this affecting the service you can provide at the moment?
So at the moment there's 4 satellites up there, and there'll be more launched this year, and we have enough being launched this year to offer a commercial service, and then further satellites will be launched throughout the whole of next year to build up to a complete constellation of about 24 satellites.
Right. And as you receive orders already, and hopefully will receive more, is there any component shortage affecting Wyld?
Is there, sorry,
Any component shortage?
The components shortage is an interesting question. So, we have enough components to deliver the orders we currently have at the moment, and we have actually advanced booked components. So we've actually got components ready so that we can actually build the equipment. So we've addressed that problem prior to receiving these purchase orders, and also for purchase orders moving forward as well.
All right, thank you for that. So Wyld is based in Cambridge, and a similar company also using LoRa to connect sensor and collect data is Lacuna Space, based in Oxford. So it seems like it's one of your closest competitors. Can you tell us about the relationship and in what way you differ?
Yeah, Lacuna is doing a similar type of solution, in that they're also using LoRaWAN as a technology. I would say that we differentiate from Lacuna in that we use some proprietary beaconing technology to reduce the amount of power that's used by the terminal, which is very important because these terminals get deployed into hard-to-reach areas, and they will last with no electricity for 2 to 5 years. So it's all about how do we reduce the amount of power our terminals consume, and they will go into the field for a long time. So this beaconing technology is pretty unique, and it's the technology that allows us to reduce the amount of power used by our terminals. The other fact is that our satellite partner is Eutelsat, and they're a large partner.
And is the situation regarding Russia and Ukraine affecting you in any way?
It's not affecting us in any way at all. We had one potential partner in Russia, but obviously that stopped. but in reality, it's a terrible conflict. And I think it's going to add additionally to the problem that agriculture faces, because Ukraine has been a huge producer of agriculture for Europe, and so that's putting a lot of stress onto other countries. And technology is the answer to try and increase the yield of crops, and so that's will potentially help us moving forward.
Can you tell us more about the partnership you mentioned with Bayer and Chevron?
Yeah, they're launch partners. So with Bayer, we're developing product for them. So we've got a purchase order to develop connectivity solutions for them. And those products will be deployed in the next couple of months. And so we classify them as a launch partner, and we'll be looking for additional business with Bayer in different applications. And with Chevron, they're a launch partner of ours, so they're testing the solution. And their application is interesting because what they want to do is they want to measure corrosion in oil pipes. So they want to ensure that there's no spillage of oil. So they're looking at preventative maintenance to increase their operational efficiency. And of course, all of those pipes are in areas where there's no wireless networks. So they're going to use our solution to collect data to be able to analyze the health and condition of all of their assets in the field.
All right. And your launch is planned to be second half of this year.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about how you're going to roll this out? And yeah.
Well, what we're doing at this moment is basically collecting purchase orders for the terminal. So we want to get terminals out into the field before we actually launch the service, before we commercially start to charge customers for data. So our main focus at the moment is collecting all of these purchase orders, delivering the Wyld Connect terminal to our customers, getting them deployed in the field and ready for when we actually turn on the satellite service and start to collect revenue from the data.
And this is a quite new market, and the price for the data is $5 right now. Do you see this decline in the future?
Well, it's $5 on average. If the customer's using more data, he's going to pay more than $5. So, the $5 is for a certain amount of data. So I do expect there's going to be pressure on that $5. But, as we start to deploy millions of terminals, it is going to become a massive reoccurring revenue for the company moving forward. Analysts are suggesting that, there's about 30 million devices, 30 million terminals required at this moment. And so we're going after a big chunk of that market.
So what is the biggest risks for Wyld?
There's always risks in business. So the risks, I think we're managing the risks. The risks are ensuring that we've got components. So we've managed that risk by advanced purchasing components so we can actually get terminals to our customers. In respect to satellites, there's always a risk of satellites, but we're working with Eutelsat. As I said, they're a very, very large company, and they've got a track record of delivering satellite constellations. So it's all about managing those risks.
We talked about Lacuna Space, but do you see any... can you give us some more color on the competitive landscape?
Yeah, there's other companies doing this and starting to do this and delivering a satellite IoT service. But one thing we've focused on is delivering an affordable service. And as I said earlier, we're actually have developed our solution to work in free-to-use spectrum, whereas there's other companies that are using licensed spectrum and they have to pay every country, I don't know, $150,000 a month to actually use the spectrum. And so that becomes a very, very expensive solution for the customers. So what we've done is actually created a low power and affordable solution. So we believe that we can unlock this massive potential of the Internet of Things.
Right. And I think that is all for today. Thank you so much, Alastair Williams, CEO of Wyld Networks.
Thank you very much indeed.